Have you been struggling to get started with your spring cleaning? Or maybe you started and then stopped and haven't managed to get very much done. If that's the case, then I'm hoping that today's video will help you, because I also really struggle to get started with spring cleaning, even though I truly believe in its value. Because for me, taking care of our homes is actually an act of self-care and an act of self-love. When we look after our homes, then they look after us. And a home that really feels like a calming, welcoming, nourishing, nurturing space is really important and a big focus of why I set this channel up in the first place. So if you are struggling with your spring cleaning, then what I would say to you is focus on 4 priority areas. And if you do nothing else but these 4 areas, it will have a meaningful impact on your home and on how you feel in your home. So I'm going to talk about each one, why it's important. I would suggest, I mean, you can do these in whatever order you want, but I actually suggest following the order in which I want to talk about them, because I'm starting with the quicker wins and working our way up to the spaces that require much more effort. And hopefully you build momentum as you go, so that when we get to the kitchen is the 4th, you be already fired up and motivated and keen to get it done. And also, before I get into it, I just want to talk a little bit about decluttering, because they are similar, but they're also different. Spring cleaning is an age-old practice. I say we've been spring cleaning since we moved out of caves into houses with windows. But decluttering is a much more recent practice, because we have started accumulating far more than we need. And you can do spring cleaning separate to decluttering and vice versa. You definitely can. And when you combine the two, it is going to slow you down a little bit, but combining the two is really valuable. So I'll just put that out there. But whichever one you need to focus on right now, whether it's spring cleaning or it's decluttering, I would still say if you're struggling to get started, then start with one of these 4 areas. And so the first one is the entryway. And that's not just because that's the first place that our guests see, makes the first impression on our guests, but more importantly, it's because it's the space that welcomes us home. It's the space that makes a first impression on us, sets the tone for how we're going to feel when we come into our home and hopefully unwind after the end of the day. So it is a really important space that we often don't give enough consideration to, but it does have its challenges, because it's the boundary between the outer world and our inner sanctum. And we can't help but bring some of the dirt and the chaos of the outer world into our homes through this portal. So we're dragging dirt and muck in, we're discarding a lot of the outerwear that was protecting us from the elements in the outdoors. We're discarding them in this place. We're dumping post, we're dumping our keys. It can really become a bottleneck for clutter and general disorder. And when that happens, that can have a really draining effect on our psyche. When you turn the key in your front door and you walk through it to clutter or to dirt and mucky floors, that has the opposite effect on us that we want. We want to come home and just start to immediately decompress. As soon as we walk through the door, we want to start to move into relaxation mode. But if the first thing we're hit with is dirt or chaos, then our minds aren't really able to do that. And if our minds can't relax, then neither can our bodies. So it's really valuable to prioritize this part of your home and to make sure it's not only thoroughly cleaned on a regular basis, but also really well organized. And the reason why I would start here is not just because of your first impression, it's because it's easily done in definitely in a day, often in an hour or two. It's a space that won't require a huge time commitment in order to go through it. Now, you do want to give it at least an hour, maybe 2, depending on how hard your entryway is working, because with any of the areas for spring cleaning, you want to get into the nooks and crevices that get overlooked when we're doing our normal everyday cleaning. So you want to start at the top. So cleaning your light fixtures. If you have any ceiling fans, clean those, removing all the cobwebs, clean your doors, and if there's windows in your entryway, clean them inside and out, clean all of that, clean down the walls and the skirting boards before you start cleaning the surfaces and the insides of cupboards and drawers. So you're unlikely to do this in 30 minutes, but you can probably do it in 1 to 2 hours. Certainly you won't need a day. So it's a great place to start. And the second place that I suggest is your bathroom. Because again, this is a space that can be done in 1 to 2 hours. And the reason why the bathroom is one of the 4 priority areas is that this is the space where we cleanse and purify our bodies. It's where we prepare to meet the world every morning, and it's also where we wash away the day before we go to bed at night. So it's an intimate space that should support our self-care routines, not stress us out with clutter and grime. That said, it also can be a very challenging space because typically our bathrooms are small rooms, but they're small rooms with a big impact on how we feel because we're starting and ending our days there. And the trouble is that we tend to accumulate a lot of products in this small space. And then when you add in the humidity of the bathroom, it's typically a humid environment, along with a lot of high touch surfaces such as taps, toilet flushers, door handles, all of that touched a lot. That all adds up to a space that needs some regular cleaning attention. Now, when you're spring cleaning the bathroom, you need to remember, as well as the basics that I talked about for the entryway, remember you want to look at the grout on your tiling that probably needs scrubbing. You want to descale your shower head. You want to clean behind the toilet, clean the exhaust fan, and also if your shower curtains, they probably could do with a good clean as well. And if you're decluttering in this area, you need to look at all of your toiletries, your medicines, your cosmetics, check them all for expiration and get rid of anything that is expired. And when your bathroom is properly cleaned and also decluttered, it would just be a more pleasant space to begin and end your day in. As I said already, big, small space typically, but a really big impact on us mentally and emotionally. So speaking of starting and ending our day, the third priority area is our bedroom. Now, as I said, if the whole spring cleaning your home thing is overwhelming you, don't be worrying about anybody else's bedroom, just your own. But this is absolutely a priority area because it's the place where our bodies rest and restore themselves. And not only that, but we spend a third of our lives, at least a third of our lives, or ideally we do, in this room. And so it's really important that your bedroom is a nurturing environment. It's going to help you sleep better, which is going to impact your health and vitality on every level. But as with the other 2 areas, again, it has its own set of challenges because the bedroom can very often become a dumping ground for laundry, for storage overflow. Say when you declutter your hallway, you're going to find seasonal items that shouldn't be there for now, and you'll need to move them somewhere else in your home. The bedroom is often where that somewhere will be, and under the bed becomes a very popular place to stuff things out of sight. And these days also a lot of us might have a work from home station set up in our bedroom. So again, it can often be a harder working space than it would ideally be. Ideally, it would just be a place for rest and relaxation, but oftentimes it's so much more than that. So again, it's a really important area to prioritize in terms of regular deep cleans. Dust mites love our bedrooms, particularly our mattresses, pillows, and bedding. So when you're spring cleaning, these on top of the cobwebs, light fixtures, doors and windows, that's the big area to prioritize. So washing all your bedding, cleaning your mattress, flipping and rotating your mattress so that you get even wear out of it, washing your pillows. Everything to do with your bed needs a thorough but also under the bed. If you're storing stuff under the bed, pull it all out so you can clean thoroughly under there. You're going to find a lot of dust bunnies hidden under the bed. And your curtains, clean your curtains because they're gathering dust all winter as well. And that's going to impact the quality of the air that you're breathing in for a third of your life. When it comes to decluttering in this area, again, under the bed is somewhere to look at. In an ideal world, according to feng shui, we would store nothing under the bed. But in the real world, lots of us need to. And if that's the case, if you're storing stuff under your bed, just make sure everything that you're storing there you do actually need. And also that it's well organized so that you can easily access what you need when you need it. If you have a chair robe, so a chair that you drape clothes on until you get around to putting them back in the wardrobe or dresser, that's actually can be a quick win in terms of decluttering and will make you feel good when you've sorted all of that out. Now, obviously in the bedroom, another big thing for decluttering is your clothing. And most of us can find that quite challenging. And I hold my hand up to that. It's hard to let go of clothes. But whenever I'm trying to do a wardrobe clear out and I'm struggling to let go of much, what I do is I take everything out and I hang it back in, back to front. So the hanger is back to front on the hanging rail. And then the next time I wear it, when I'm putting it back, I put the hanger back in the right way. And then at the end of the season, I can tell at a glance what pieces I didn't reach for, what pieces I don't actually love to wear, even though I might feel resistant to letting them go. And when you see that, when you see, okay, I haven't all season long, I haven't actually worn that item, then it's easier to let it go. So that's a little tip to try out. Now, with the bedroom, the reason I don't start with the bedroom is because there's a lot to do. So there's a wardrobe, there's your bedding, as well as cleaning all the surfaces and cleaning the insides of cupboards and drawers, moving heavy furniture to clean behind it. It's a lot. So personally, I break it down into stages and I generally do it over a few days. Of course, it's absolutely doable in a day if you want to. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you don't want to get started because you think it's too much work, then think about breaking it down over a few days. And I have created a guide, it's completely free, where I walk you through these 4 areas. And I do break both the bedroom and the kitchen down into phases that you can either do in a day or over a few days, whatever suits you. But it just helps to take the sense of overwhelm out of it. So that's going to be linked in the description box below if you like. And then the last priority area, as I already mentioned, is the kitchen. And the reason why I leave this to last is it's the biggest job, but also a really important space because it is the place where we nourish our bodies. We store our food here, we prep our food here, we cook our food here, and many of us also eat our food here. And as well as that, the kitchen can be a very important social space. It's where families gather and conversations happen, memories are made over shared meals. Most people call it the heart of the home. So for all of these reasons, it's a really important one to prioritize. And then again, as with all 4 of these areas, it has its own set of challenges. I mean, food preparation creates mess, that's unavoidable. But then you also have these big appliances where lots of dirt and grime gather behind. So the spring cleaning is the time when you want to pull those out and clean behind them. You want to be looking at your extractor fan, the inside of your dishwasher, the inside of all your appliances as well as the outside, and of course the insides and outsides of all your cupboards. There's just so much work to be done in the kitchen. I definitely recommend breaking that down over a few days, but it's so important. Not only because you are cleaning a space where you're prepping food, but also because when your kitchen is clean and organized, so the decluttering part is what will help you to get it in good organizational shape, then it's a more inspiring place to actually spend time in preparing meals. So you'll be more inclined to cook healthy meals from scratch in a clean and decluttered kitchen than in one that is grimy or chaotic. It can really help to transform meal preparation from a chore into something that you enjoy. And if your kitchen is a sociable space for you and your family, when it's clean, that's just going to make it a much more pleasant environment for you all to hang out in. So that's it. The 4 areas that I would say to you, if you're really struggling to get started, just do these. They will have a really strong positive impact on how you and your family feel and function in your home. And as I said, you can do them whatever order you like, but that order can really help you to start small with quick wins and build momentum so that you're more enthusiastic for the harder jobs in the kitchen. And as I mentioned, I have a downloadable guide that walks you through these 4 areas. And at the end of it, there's a printable checklist for them for both spring cleaning and for decluttering. But actually, if you would like to go further and do your whole home, I have a decluttering challenge, also free. I'll link it below, which starts with these 4 areas, but then continues on throughout the rest of the home. So the guide is designed so that you can download that and do it whenever you want. So just dip in and out as you want. Whereas on the 30-day challenge, you get an email a day for 30 days, just nudging you to do a small corner of your home. And it's again designed with the idea was of taking any sense of overwhelm out of it, out of the task, and just doing small bite-sized pieces that don't require a big time input. So just maybe anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes a day. So if either of those are of interest or of help, they're linked below. And I hope if you are stalled in your spring cleaning that this video will help you to get going again. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.